Okay, Shalom Akim, Kahalanam La Yahabashim Yashabashim Hakudash, and double honors to great and apostles. Thadi How, Thadi Yasha for the strength and order to make this video. And Yara Tazar, they also edified, you're built up from it. And of course, this gives you encouragement to really have more faith in Yahabashim Yasha. So, to get straight to the video, and of course, it's the brother Ra'azar Raha Halawiya, the same name as the channel. It says it, it says in the in the news report, on YouTube, it says, watch K9 attacks cop who brutally slams black man to ground. In other words, an Israelite man to the ground. Because we're not black. Of course, this is the label that we've been given, a byword that we've been labeled as. Which the scriptures speak on it. That shall be a byword. If I try to get that one quickly. Because obviously we are Israelites, which means in the Asia Hebrew, Israelite is Yasha. Well, Israel goes back to Yasha Allah, which means he is a prince of power. And of course, our power, our source of power is Yahweh, man. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So let's get. I'm just type this. It should be in Deuteronomy. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was even in. Yeah, it was there. So Deuteronomy 28 and verse 37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord Yahweh shall lead thee. So all these labels, such as being black, Latino, and all these other names, they're not our actual identity, man. Our identity is being an Israelite, a prince of the power, a prince of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So anyways, just a short note on that. But the point of this video today really is based upon the K9 attacks cop who brutally slammed black man to ground, man. Because of course, in this clip here, which I'm gonna play, I'm gonna play it. Then we're gonna speak on it. A cop decides to body slam a black male. His own dog, the canine, turns against the police. Here it is. You want to a culture of niggatry going on, which obviously the news presenter will be. He'll get into it. He'll get into it, man. But damn, man, this is part of the curses right here. Not having vexation of spirit because of all the shit you gotta deal with, unfairness, injustice rather. Look at this thing. A cop decides to body slam a black male. His own dog, the canine, turns against the police. Here it is. You want to I just realized what she said as well. He's biting his ass. Meaning that the dog was biting the cop, man. But it was biting the cop. But anyways, let me let the guy speak. Put up the picture full mass. The canine is considered to be a unit officer. The reason it is considered to be a unit officer is because it has gone through training. It is trained to primarily do one thing and one thing well. Identify the aggressor, the one committing the criminal act. The K9 unit is first seen
with dog by his side, yelling at the young adults in a parking as he used the German Shepherd to disperse the revelers. At one point, he appears to be arresting a young woman in a bikini. A young man tries to peacefully intervene, but the cop body slams that young man to the ground, even though he held his hands up. Now, I have issues with animals being utilized in law enforcement, period. I think it is a bad practice. But you cannot negate the irony of this situation. This dog is loyal. The canine is loyal to that officer in that unit. That officer or those officers feed that domesticated animal. The officers provide care for that domesticated animal. However, when it came down to it, you have to understand the context of this. I've been saying on Indisputable since day one, when a cop arrests another cop while the cop is engaged in the criminal activity in front of them, we would have arrived. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a different version of that. The canine cop is the first cop in history to literally attempt to arrest a cop while the cop is in commission of said act. Let's get
Let's get this precept here. Hold on. Deuteronomy 28. To be fair, it's in this chapter, so I might as well come here. Because this is what Jake is gonna go through, man. Well, this is what Jake has been going through for quite a while now. But of course, these curses are being flipped over now that the heathens are going through them, and then the Most High is having more mercy upon Jake. But all in all, the pinnacle of that and the final change will be in Yahushua's kingdom. So this is Deuteronomy 28 and verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field, man. So Jake, even in the city, man, got the curse of Esau, Edom having an evil eye, which of course, that hatred is quite clear between the two brothers. Because remember the story in Genesis 25 where Jacob and Esau were fighting. Obviously, these are two nations of people. Jacob representing Israelites, Israel, and Esau represented the Edomites. So Edom. Now, cursed thou shalt be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. And verse 20, it says here, the Lord Yahweh shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings whereby thou hast forsaken me. So of course, because Israel has forsaken the Most High Yahweh, they're getting the curse of they're getting cursing, vexation, and rebuke, man. That harsh rebuke. So of course, hold on. Of course, really, that's what Jake be going through, and really, he was getting into a matter that doesn't really concern him, man. He was getting into a matter that doesn't concern him, because sometimes you just gotta let things play out, man. The Most High has a program that he has to run. If you don't intervene, you be costing yourself. That's the thing. So I'm trying to find a preset. Okay, hold on. I'll get this one here. 16 and 20. And not all matters that you have to be involved in, man. Alright, hold on. So this is Proverbs 16. And alright, Proverbs 16 and 20 is really the key point. So he that handleth a matter wisely shall find good, but whoso trusteth in the Lord Yahweh happy is he. You know, of course, Jake don't really have faith in Yahweh Shem Yahshua anyway, so of course they're gonna go through, you know, a season of sadness, I can say, until Yahushua's kingdom, where they're gonna be reborn. But when it says, "He that handleth a matter wisely shall find good," man, that wisdom is based upon the scriptures. Jake don't have the wisdom of the scriptures, man. That's why he didn't know. Because if he knew the simple ones, such as never trust thine enemy, you know, if I recall correctly, Ecclesiasticus 30, also known as Sirach, actually Sirach 12 and 10, you know, never trust thine enemy. If he knew that, you know, okay, he needs to back away. You know, whoever Eve was gonna suffer through, let her flipping suffer through, man. You know, so let's see, just to check that, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. See, so Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 12 and 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness, man. So it never really changes, man. That's the point. It never really changes. You know, so I read this. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed, be aware, and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not all been altogether wiped away. So yeah, he don't change, man. The wicked don't change. You know, Esau, Edom, don't trust him. If Jake knew that, just that simple precept, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10, he will know, okay, we gotta back away, man. However trouble Eve be pulling upon herself, and if you had the wisdom, you would have let her be. There ain't no need. It was just a culture of niggotry that was going on there, man. You know, as the brother, I know what Allah says, man. And he says, what does he even say? You know, niggerism. You know, this is just niggerism. You know, a culture of niggotry, and of course the actions of niggerism. You might hear that more often. So that's really, if he really had that wisdom, he wouldn't get slammed to the ground like that. You know, and yeah, let's continue.
Engaged in the criminal activity in front of them, we would have arrived. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got a different version of that. The Canine cop is the first cop in history to literally attempt to arrest a cop while the cop is in commission of said act. Let's get to it. Daily Mail reports. It wasn't the only incident where cops were using dogs to tame spring break crowds. These are children in Panama City. Video captured police unleashing at least one dog on its town's beach after major gun bus turned up 75 illegal guns. Dozens of partygoers were seen on the video hurriedly running from the approaching canine. The crowd is angered, screaming at the officer, and insisting the young man he tackled, quote, didn't do anything. And obviously the canine agreed. The chaos seemed to confuse the canine, who turned and bit his cop handler.
And see, the Most High put the spirit within the dog to actually bite the handler, being Esau Edom. That Edomite knew life that day, man. That's when the redness, the demons started to come out. But yeah, let's see. Hold on. Because really, we're supposed to have dominion over these animals, especially Jake anyways. Let's get Genesis. Should be in chapter 9 and around 26 or something. If it ain't there, hold on. Yeah, actually verse 2, not verse 26. So, this is Genesis 9 and verse 1. The key part is 2. So, and the Most High blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast, that includes dogs, of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea, into your hand are they delivered. So that's the power that Yahweh Shem Yahshua had put upon us back in the day, man. You know, these beasts were supposed to fear us. You know, not like the way today it's only pigeons that fear you. Back in the day, it would have been lions that feared you, gorillas that feared you. The formidable animals of today, they feared us back in the day, and we're coming back to that as well. We are coming back to that. You know, so the way that Canine, of course, attacked the cop right there, you know, that Edomite right there. You know, the way he attacked him in the day, well, really, all in all, through our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahshua, they'll be in league with us, man. They'll be cool with us, essentially. You know, taking up commands, return to do something. In the kingdom, even more so, return to do something, they're going to do it. Even in Jacob's trouble, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, we're going to have that spiritual power to tell them, okay, do this, do that. And then they're going to listen, man. That dominion is coming back. You know, in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, it's already here. You know, you got certain brothers of whom already have that type of spirit that are cool with animals, man. You know, so let's get another one. So yeah, I'll read it again. Genesis 9:2. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth. You know, that fear will be there. You know, from the beast, man, where it's like they got to obey us. The same way we fear Yahweh Shem Yahshua is the same way the beasts are going to fear us, man. Now that's all through the power of Yahweh Yahushua. And upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea, you know, the sharks, you know, you got the whales, you know, you got the big fishes, man. It says, upon all the fishes of the sea, into your hand are they delivered. You know, so of course these animals will actually fear us, and not the other way around. But yeah, that's why I gotta pray for you. Pray to Yahweh Shem Yahshua for the strength, man. Oh yeah, let me get one more. So it says in Job 5. Let's see this. So Job 5:22, at destruction and famine thou shalt laugh, neither shalt thou be afraid of the beasts of the earth. So we're not going to be afraid of these, you know, roaming beasts that escape from the zoos. We're not. So it says, for thou shalt be in league. Go and be in that connection, man. That state of serenity, calmness with these animals. So thou shalt be in league with the stones of the field, and the beasts of the field shall be at peace with thee. And so the Most High is going to guide our steps, and of course he's going to put that spirit upon us where we're going to be cool with the beasts, man. You know, gorillas, lions, bears, wherever you may be, whatever beast may roaming around, the snakes, they're going to be cool with us. They will obey us. That's spiritual power in itself. You know, that's through our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahshua to do that. He's going to bestow us that power. You know, so that in the spirit, it's already there. You know, it's all according to our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahshua at the end of the day. So let's continue on. And then I'm going to wrap up the video.
Let the K9 speak for himself. I think his actions were quite clear. Okay? Quote, oh my God, he's biting him, one of the onlookers exclaimed. He's biting his ass, end quote. I want you to see the look on this cop's face in this particular still. Okay? Look at the other cop. Neither one of them are looking at the black male anymore. Social media was quick to defend the K9. Quote, cop needs to be fired. Fur baby cop deserves a treat, wrote one commenter on IG. Good boy. Another quote,
Yeah, man. So that's really the point right there. That is the point. We will be in league with these animals, and when we tell them to do something, they'll listen to us. And that's going to happen, in Jacob's trouble. We have faith. I believe it will happen, through the power of Yahweh Shimon and Shai. Nothing is impossible. So, when people are going to be fearing what animals are going to be up and about, loose, we're going to be cool, man. Snakes, gorillas, lions, name it, wolves. We're going to be cool with them. You might even find yourself speaking with one day. But yeah, all through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, I always got to remember that. So where was I going to go? Because believe it or not, man, things will happen of which the world will see as absurd, but it will just be a usual thing for us, which, of course, we call it usual because, we just know that through Yahweh Shem Yahshua that it can happen anyways. So, let's read this. So, Wisdom of Solomon 11 and verse 17 to 18. For thy almighty hand, the hand of the Most High, that made the world of matter without form, wanted not means to send among them a multitude of bears or fierce lions, or unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, breathing out either a fiery vapor, or filthy scents of scatter smoke, or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. So if that's just the terror that or fear that Jake be having with just a dog, because I remember in the video it talked about the party goers running from the canine, man. Because it says that Daily Mail reports it wasn't the only incident where cops were using dogs to tame spring break crowds. In Panama City, video captured police unleashing at least one drug dog on the town's beach after a major gun bust turned up 75 illegal guns. Dozens of partygoers were seen on the video hurriedly running from the approaching canine. So if that's the fear Jake has of just a canine, man, it's really just a lack of faith also in Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. You can't blame them because they ain't got Yahweh Hashem Yahshua. That's why we have to say Thou Yahshua, that He protects us and He preserves our minds and our spirits and our bodies. Because it is a privilege, of course, having access to Yahweh Hashem Yahshua when we pray. So because of the fact that, you got Jake out there in the world, if you don't have that, they walk in a lack of faith. Hence the fear takes over them. So imagine how much more, if they fear the dogs, how much more these unknown wild beasts, full of rage, newly created, it says. So you ain't gonna, the sight of them alone is gonna make people faint. So it says breathing out either fiery vapor or filthy scents. You got Leviathan, that's Job 41. Filthy scents or scatter smoke or shooting horrible sparkles out of their eyes. We're talking about Godzilla here, man. So people really gonna get shook. They're gonna be scared. Now, verse 19. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 11 and 19, whereof not only the harm might dispatch them at once, but also the terrible sight utterly destroy them. So people will faint, die just from the sight, the fear within their body from seeing these newly created beasts, these creatures. They will be scared. But of course, in that day, in our faith in Yahweh Shem Yahshua, we'll be cool with these type of beasts, man. That's the point. We will be cool with them because the Most High is going to give us that heavy portion of Harachak Wadash to be able to handle it as well. And they'll be subject unto us as well, man. Because remember, we read in Genesis 9 chapter 9 and verse 2, man, about having dominion over the beasts. And of course, it's all through the power of Yahweh Shem Yahshua anyways, man. As Yahshua said, the spirits are subject unto you. Spirits can enter these wild beasts as well, but they'll still obey us because Yahshua has given us power over them, and that's part of the faith. And again, that's also a form of spiritual power. One of the greater works that Yahshua did tell us about. Alright, let's get this final one. I'm close up. Ecclesiasticus 39 and verse 28. Because remember, there's wild beasts, as mentioned in Wisdom of Solomon 11, verse 17 to 18, or 17 to 19. And you got spirits of vengeance. That can also enter within people too. Any vessel really. So Ecclesiasticus 39:28, there be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction, which we are in it, as Apostle Tahar deemed the year of destruction, judgment to the wicked, and of course Yaratazar, what did he named it even, well, it's destruction of the wicked. That's what I know that he didn't mention that, destruction and judgment of the wicked man. So the point there, it says they pour out their force and appease the wrath of him that made them. So of course, they appease the wrath of Yahweh who made them. So there be spirits created for vengeance. So they will come to execute the vengeance of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua in that day, man. So, there's going to be actual spirits out there. It says fire, hail, and famine, death, all these were created for vengeance. And these are just examples of it. It says teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, serpents, sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. And of course, this is also referring to the wicked of our people. So it says teeth of wild beasts and scorpions, serpents, and the sword, of Esau, Edom, come to punish the wicked of our people also. So, man, there's going to be a major time where faith is going to be tested. Hence why, we always have to meditate upon these precepts, man. Whenever faith be shaken, if it be so, always remember the precepts, man. Especially the ones that do bring out, Wisdom of Solomon 11. That's obviously talking about wild beasts. Ecclesiasticus 39, spirits of vengeance. But these things we don't need to fear because we have the power of Yahweh Yahushua within us anyways. Yahushua did say also, as I like to repeat, don't rejoice that the spirits are subject unto you, but that your names are written in heaven. He mentioned the fact that the spirits are subject unto us anyways. So that's a form of spiritual power too. And we have to truly believe that prior to that even being a situation, being tested out. And that way, you execute that ultimate level of faith, which is to just know something despite the evidence not being there. As Hebrews 11 really says, it's the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So yeah, I'll end it off, Akim. Shalom, and Yahweh Shem Yashai, Barakatham.